First up from that fat rat, not a well-known name, but an amazing player. Do you think Seattle can sign Austin Reiter, or will another team sign him? Also like the video. Thank you, that fat rat. You guys should like it. I'm open to that idea. I don't trust Ethan Posick as Seattle's starting center. I'm actually very surprised Austin Reiter has not signed. This might be an example, kind of in the Desmond King mold, for example, of players who I like, who I think the general NFL fandom likes more, NFL's not as high on. I'd bring him in, let him compete for a starting role. Could even be an upgrade, so good question there, that fat rat. From Mariners fan, Seahawks trade a 2022 third and a 2022 fifth for Stephon Gilmore. If that's the actual cost of a trade, heck yeah, let's do it. I'd be a little bit surprised if we just moved him for that little, but there are some issues for Seattle. If you pay Stephon Gilmore, if you trade for Gilmore, you have to pay him. And you're talking $17 million a year, which means you got to restructure guys. You're probably not going to keep Quandre Diggs, which isn't the end of the world necessarily. It makes you better at corner. It's another all-in move. I don't know how much more aggressive Seattle wants to be from that perspective. From Catis 16 Dupe, do you think the Seahawks are going to trade for a corner? Check in with me later on in camp. It's a possibility. If the young guys don't come along, if DJ Reed regresses, if Witherspoon looks bad or whatever, I think a trade is a possibility. But this team, as a reminder, has often looked, not young and cheap at corner. They haven't looked into big, expensive guys. So there are some players on the market, but they want to see what the young guys can do first.
All right, Nick, what AFC and NFC Seahawk game will interest you the most, and be honest? I mean, in terms of the NFC, anytime that they're in their divisional games, I love the divisional games. The Green Bay Packers is always a pretty good one. In terms of the AFC, I'm trying to think of some of their AFC opponents off the top of my head. I'll go with the Tennessee Titans. I mean, Julio Jones will be an interesting matchup. Maybe even the Pittsburgh Steelers could be a good matchup there as well. But NFC, I love the NFC West divisional games. They're super fun to watch. We got Nick Fury, 55. What impact would Xavien Howard have on the Seattle defense if Seattle decides to go all in on him? I mean, he would be a huge help, right? I mean, he's a top 5, top 10 cornerback in the National Football League. He would probably be their best defender. I don't know if that's a bit of a push. I love Poona Ford a lot. They're super underrated. I think Xavien Howard's better than Jamal Adams personally in terms of what he'd be able to bring to a team. The issue is with Howard is, can he stay fully healthy? But yes, he would obviously really, really help that secondary, and that secondary does still need some help despite making a few moves this offseason. All right, Jordy Walsh, you're next up. Should Seattle extend Jamal Adams or Quandre Diggs, or both? I guess it depends what you're going to pay Jamal Adams. Like, I don't think Jamal's a top 5 safety. He's a good player. He does what he does very well. But if he wants top-end money like a Justin Simmons, I'm going to go tell him to shove it personally. And then in terms of Quandre Diggs, another good player, but would I extend both? Probably not. It's like, how much money do you want to pay them? Diggs is an okay player. Adams is a very good player, but they're both going to be asking for a lot of money. The other issue is this. You are trying to win right now, and you are in your win-now mode, plus you gave up 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams, but it's going to come down to money. But if Adams wants to get paid top dollar and if Diggs wants to get paid a lot, I'm probably going to go ahead and say no. All right, Jason_Joyner, you're next up. Should Seattle sign Todd Gurley? No, Todd Gurley is washed up, and it pains me to say that because just a few years ago, arguably the best running back in the National Football League, had one of the best years that we've seen in quite some time when he was with the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, I think he had, 30 total touchdowns. He was just bananas good. But last season, 195 carries, averaged 3.5 yards per carry. If you watch the tape, his touchdown numbers are still very impressive. But, man, he's lost a few steps. So, you have Chris Carson. You don't need another banged-up running back. Maybe you got to figure out what you got in Rashad Penny. But I'm going to respectfully say no on Todd Gurley going to Seattle. I don't know where Gurley's going to end up going, but maybe he ends up going somewhere else. But I don't think it's going to be Seattle.
All right, from Daniel Sharp, trade package for Seattle for Xavien Howard. I mean, look, you don't have a first-round pick. So that makes it difficult. So it's probably got to be a second-round pick and one of your young corners. I don't know if Trey Flowers moves the needle at all. Maybe DJ Reed does. Maybe Ahkello Witherspoon. It's not a great offer since you just signed Witherspoon. I think a second-round pick is all Seattle will be able to lead with outside of moving one of their big-time players, which doesn't make much sense because they're trying to win games right now. From Ferrari Mami, should the Seahawks sign an offensive tackle like Dennis Kelly or Mitchell Schwartz? I mean, depends on what they cost and how they feel about their younger players. So Dwayne Brown locked and loaded in at left tackle. Brandon Shell, I think he's better than Dennis Kelly. Now, if Mitchell Schwartz is healthy, which I don't know about that, then I would have interest there. Cedric Ogbuehi is fine as your swing tackle. I think in general there's some understandable concern about the tackle position with injuries from last year. I'm a big Stone Forsythe guy, so I think they're fine for now, but we'll wait and see in terms of how that develops as camp goes on. A lot of the moves, folks, are not going to get done until later on in camp and in the preseason. From Matt the Gamer, which teams do you think will be better this year? I mean, I think in general, you're looking at the teams that were terrible last year that have almost nowhere to go but up, right? The Jets, they should be a better football team this season. The Jags should be a better football team this year. I'd be very surprised if a team like, the Cowboys, great example there for Jeremy, they should be better this year. A team like maybe not Philadelphia, but I think the Bengals, if Joe Burrow's healthy the entire year, could be a lot better this year. I think the Niners, a healthy team, will be way better this season. So some of those bottom teams, they got plenty of room to go up. From Anisha Nod, what is your reaction to Brady and Mahomes on the Madden cover? I don't care about the cover. They could put Peyton Hillis back on it again, and I would not care about it. What I care about is making the franchise mode actually good. It has gone in the wrong direction for a decade now. If the franchise mode is finally good again, which I'll believe it when I see it, then I'll be pretty excited. Now, maybe your answer to this question is Brady or Mahomes. But you guys can be a hater right now in the comments section. And let me know who you think the most overrated NFL quarterback is. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So to get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and let me know. From Yurji, what teams are sleepers for the Super Bowl? Do the Rams count as a Super Bowl sleeper, or are they too obvious? Because obviously they brought in Matt Stafford. I mean, I think the Chiefs are your heavy favorites out there in the West. So in the other conference there in the West. So I lean towards not the Chiefs. I don't buy the Colts or Titans quite yet, but maybe Tennessee would qualify as a sleeper there. If you want to go deep sleeper, do the Bills count yet? Or are they too good? They're too good? Okay, so not the Bills. So I'll go Chargers there for out in the West, AFC West to be exact, there in the AFC. As for the NFC team, I'll go with it's not Washington, it's not the Cowboys. I'll go. Can I go with the 49ers? I'll go with the 49ers. If they're healthy, they're a good football team. So I'll go Niners, Chargers, two West Coast teams in the end. From Liam Gaming 622, Tom Downey misspelled my name, but we still brought it up. It's all good. There's an E there. It's not like the fabric softener, It's not like that. What player is at the top of the trading block? I mean, I think your main names there are Aaron Rodgers, maybe Stephon Gilmore, maybe Xavien Howard. The one guy who I know is available is Zach Ertz. Does he get dealt? I don't know. From Thomas Angel, first off, great first name. What playoff team last year will fall out this season? I am worried about Pittsburgh in the AFC. If Big Ben is second half of last season, Big Ben, things are going to get dicey there. I don't trust Carson Wentz for the Colts. In the AFC, if Aaron Rodgers is not in Green Bay, they're not going to make it. But the team that jumps out the most to me, the Saints. If it's Taysom Hill, I don't think so. They'll be above or around 500 football team. I'm not sold on New Orleans this year. What receivers do you think could be traded this offseason? I think in general, we're kind of at the end of the notable players who are going to get dealt outside of a couple, more roster cut down type of moves. The big names, Odell Beckham, I don't think he's going to get moved at any time in the near future. I don't think Michael Gallup gets moved by the Cowboys. if teams start to struggle, the Jets redid Jamison Crowder's deal, so I guess that takes him off the list. There will be some deadline or some trade deadline deals for a receiver. Hopefully not as bad as the Mohamed Sanu trade for the Patriots. But if things get disastrous in Green Bay, just keep an eye out for Devontae Adams, maybe. And I guess Allen Robinson if things go bad for the Bears, too.
We got the Fat Rat. What up, brother? Hello, Mitch. How are you? Good, dude. Which quarterback do you believe is a sleeper MVP candidate? Well, if you want to go super, super deep sleeper, I'll throw out the name Tua Tagovailoa. I believe his MVP odds are 6,600. He's got a ton of talent around him. He's entering his second year. If you want to go a next caliber level down in terms of a sleeper MVP candidate, I mean, a lot of people might hate on me for saying this, but I'll say Derek Carr, because if he can finish first in the AFC West, that puts him in a very good position. And for the first time in a long time, he actually has a defense. But the pick that I've been going with is Kyler Murray, a quarterback that has shown some ups and some downs, a lot of talent around him. But in terms of a sleeper MVP, I guess I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. Mmiller 916, who is your Super Bowl favorite, Mitch? I mean, I guess I got to say the Kansas City Chiefs, but it absolutely pains me to say that, and it's about as chalky as it gets. In terms of what team do I think is maybe not a chalky pick, but I would like to see in the Super Bowl, I like to see the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. I like what those guys are doing. Let's go to Jeremiah Robinson. Who will win Rookie of the Year? I mean, in terms of offensive, the chalky answer is Trevor Lawrence. On the defensive side of the football, I'll throw out a name like Jalen Phillips because he actually has an opportunity to get a lot of sacks. You could also look at Merrick from the Raiders. He's going to have a big-time opportunity to get on the field a bunch. Usually, there's a top defensive guy taken. You didn't really have that too much this year. So, I'll say Jalen Phillips or Merrick.
Gary Sanderson, your worst NFL draft takes ever. I mean, first off, where do we even begin? I had a take Josh Allen was going to be a top 5 quarterback out of the NFL within 3 or 4 years. I'll be right on that front. I thought it was going to be out of the NFL, though. So, Josh Allen, big L on my part. Guys that I liked who are not good, Hakeem Butler, just a massive L for me. Like, he has never been anything good in the NFL. I loved Tease Tabor coming out. Huge mistake on my front. That was just a disastrous goal there. Other players I'm looking at my boards from years past I was super high on. I feel like Maurice Hurst, I'm blaming on the medical condition, but he hasn't been that great. Let's see. I had Lamar Jackson graded the exact same as Sam Darnold. So I'm claiming victory on Lamar Jackson on that front there. I like Taven Bryan a lot. He has not been particularly good. I also loved Montravius Adams, the Packers defensive lineman. He was never good. A huge L on my part. I was pretty high on Billy Price, top 45 player. I like Jimmy Clausen too. Oops. I had Malik Jefferson and Billy Price in my top 50. Two just disastrous ones right there. There's a very long list of, well, that was a bad grade on my part.